Have you ever been in a situation where you are listening to a native English speaker and suddenly you feel completely lost? At first you hear a few words clearly, maybe yesterday, meeting, or coffee, but then the rest feels like a blur. They keep talking, faster and faster, their words blending together, and you're standing there thinking, what did they just say? It can be an uncomfortable moment. You smile politely, you nod your head, you hope they don't ask you a question because you're not sure how to answer. Your heart beats a little faster. You might even feel embarrassed. If this has happened to you, I want you to know something important. You are not alone. In fact, every English learner, even advanced ones, has experienced this feeling. Native English speech can sound fast, unpredictable, and even confusing. But here's the truth. It is not a problem with you. It is simply a skill you have not trained yet. And like any skill, you can improve it with the right approach. Now, I want you to imagine a different situation. You are in a room with native English speakers. They are talking quickly, telling jokes, sharing stories. But this time, something is different. You are following along. You understand the main points. You laugh at the right moments. You even join the conversation naturally. You are not just listening, you are connecting. This is not a dream. This can be your reality. And today, I will show you the exact steps to make it happen. Step 1. Change your mindset about fast English. Before we begin learning techniques to understand fast English, we need to start with something even more important. Your mindset. Your mindset is the foundation of all your learning. If your mindset is weak, every method, every tip, and every exercise will be far less effective. But if your mindset is strong, you will be able to use every technique to its full power. Many English learners begin with the wrong mindset. They believe fast English is simply too difficult for them. You might have thought to yourself, I can only understand if people speak slowly. Fast English is impossible for me. I'm just not ready for that level yet. These thoughts may feel harmless, but in reality, they are dangerous. Why? Because they create what we call a mental block. A mental block is like a locked door in your brain. When you believe something is impossible, your brain doesn't even try to open that door. It simply turns away and gives up before it starts. Think about it. If you believe fast English is impossible for you, what will happen the moment you hear it? Your mind will say, nope, I can't do this, before you even try to understand. Your focus will shift from listening to worrying. You'll start thinking about how lost you are, how embarrassing it feels, and how much you wish the other person would slow down. In that moment, you're not even listening anymore, you're just panicking. This is why your first step must be to change your beliefs about fast English. You have to start telling yourself a different story. Instead of thinking, I can't understand this, start saying, I can train for this. Every time I listen, my brain is learning. Fast English will become easy for me. At first, you might feel like you're lying to yourself. You might think, but I don't understand fast English yet. How can I say it's easy for me? The answer is simple. You are not saying it because it's true right now. You are saying it because you are training your brain to believe it. Your brain is like a powerful computer. It listens to the commands you give it. If you tell it, this is too hard for me, it will obey and stop trying. If you tell it, I can adapt to this, it will start searching for ways to adapt. Over time, your brain will become more focused, more open, and more willing to learn. Think about athletes. Before they win races, they often say to themselves, I am fast, I am strong, I am ready. They repeat it again and again until their brain fully believes it. When the race begins, they are not just running with their legs, they are running with the power of belief. The same is true for you. Fast English is not a wall you cannot climb. It is a mountain you can train to climb, step by step. The more you believe you can handle it, the more energy and focus your brain will give you to make it happen. So from today, stop saying fast English is impossible for me. Replace it with, I am training for fast English. Every time you hear a conversation that feels too quick, instead of feeling defeated, say to yourself, this is my training session. My brain is learning right now. If you change the way you think about fast English, you will change the way you hear it. And when your mindset shifts, the journey to understanding native speakers becomes not only possible, it becomes exciting. Step 2. Understand why native English sounds so fast. The second step to understanding fast English is to realize that native speakers are not necessarily speaking faster in terms of speed per word, they are speaking differently. What often makes native English feel fast is not the clock speed of their speech, but the way the words are connected, reduced, and transformed in real-life conversation. Once you understand the why behind this, you'll stop feeling like you're listening to a completely different language and start hearing the patterns. The first thing you need to know is something called connected speech. This is when native speakers connect one word to the next so there's no clear pause between them. In textbooks, you learn sentences like, did you eat? In reality, most native speakers will say, did ya eat? The you blends with did and sounds like ja. Another example is, what do you mean? In real conversation, it often becomes, what do you mean? The do you becomes dia or ja. This is completely normal in spoken English. It's a way of speaking more smoothly and quickly. Next, there's reduction. In English, certain common phrases are shortened so often that they almost become new words. You've probably heard, going to become gonna, want to become wanna, and got to become gotta. These are not lazy English. They are just part of how the language naturally evolves in casual speech. The more you listen for these reductions, the more you'll start to recognize them instantly. Another reason fast English feels tricky is dropped sounds. Some letters or syllables are not fully pronounced when native speakers talk quickly. For example, next day often sounds like next day without the T sound. Friend of mine becomes friend of mine, where of is barely there. This is normal native speakers do it without thinking because it makes speech flow more easily. The problem is, if you're expecting every sound to be there like in a textbook, your brain gets confused when it doesn't hear them. And then there's slang and idioms expressions that you probably didn't learn in school. If someone says, I'm going to hit the sack, they mean they're going to sleep, not literally hit a bag. If someone says, let's break the ice, they mean they want to start a friendly conversation, not smash frozen water. These expressions can completely change the meaning of what you hear, and if you don't know them, you might feel lost even if you hear every single word clearly. Here's the important part. If you only learn English from textbooks, all of these natural changes, connected speech, reductions, dropped sounds, and idioms, will feel like an entirely different language. That's why many learners say, I understand English when I read it, but not when I hear it. The truth is, you're hearing real, natural English, not the slow, careful English of a classroom. The good news? Once you are aware of these features, your brain can start training to recognize them automatically. The more you listen to authentic conversations, the more your ears will adapt. You will begin to expect reductions, to notice connections, and to understand idioms without stopping to translate. Instead of feeling like fast English is an enemy, you'll start seeing it as a code you've learned to unlock. And that's when listening becomes exciting instead of intimidating. Step 3. Train your ears every day. Your ears are like muscles. If you don't use them, they stay weak. If you train them regularly, they grow stronger and more capable. Many English learners underestimate this. They think listening is just something that happens naturally over time. But just like going to the gym, You don't get strong by thinking about exercise. You get strong by doing it consistently day after day. Imagine you want to build arm muscles. Would you go to the gym once, lift a few weights, and expect big results? Of course not. You'd know that real progress comes from regular training, even short but consistent workouts. The same principle applies to listening. You can't expect to understand fast native English after one listening practice. You need to train your ears every single day, even if it's just for 10 to 15 minutes. The good news is, daily listening is not about spending hours in front of a screen. It's about focused, quality practice. Think of it as a daily workout for your brain and ears. Every time you listen to authentic English, your brain becomes faster at recognizing sounds, predicting words, and processing speech without translating in your head. Over time, you'll notice a big difference. What once sounded like a blur will start to sound like clear, separate words. One of the most effective ways to do this is through active listening. Here's how it works. First, choose a short audio or video from a native speaker. This could be a podcast clip, a TV scene, or even a YouTube video. Keep it short. 1 to 3 minutes is perfect when you're training. Step 1. Listen without subtitles and try to understand as much as possible naturally. Don't pause, don't rewind. Just let the sound flow into your ears. Notice the words or phrases you catch, and also notice the moments when you get lost. Step 2. Listen again with subtitles, or a transcript if available. This time, pay close attention to the words you missed. Were they connected, reduced, said very quickly? This is the moment where you'll discover the patterns that made them hard to catch the first time. Step 3. Listen once more without subtitles. Now that you know what's being said, see how much more you understand. You'll be surprised the same sentence that sounded impossible before will suddenly feel much clearer. That's because your brain has just created a new connection between the sound and the meaning. Repeating this process every day trains your brain to catch new sounds and speech patterns automatically. At first, you might still miss a lot, and that's okay. This is not about perfection in one day. It's about gradual, steady improvement. Just like a gym workout, each listening session makes you a little stronger. If you commit to this ear training every day, even for a few minutes, you'll be amazed at the progress. One day, without even realizing it, you'll find yourself understanding conversations that once felt impossibly fast, and that's when you'll know your ears have truly become strong. Step 4. Focus on keywords, not every word. One of the biggest mistakes English learners make is trying to understand every single word they hear. It sounds like the right approach at first, but in reality, even native speakers don't do this. When you watch two native speakers having a conversation, you'll notice they don't always catch every single detail, especially if the other person is speaking quickly or mumbling. Instead, they listen for the key words, the main words that carry the meaning of the sentence. These are the words that help you understand the general idea, even if you miss a few details. Think about it this way. Language is like a puzzle. You don't need every single piece to see the picture. The main words give you enough of the picture to understand the message. Let's look at an example. Imagine someone says, "Hey, I was actually thinking about maybe going to the park later if the weather's nice." If you try to understand every single word, "Hey, actually, maybe later," you might feel stressed and overwhelmed. But if you focus only on the key words thinking, going, park, later, weather, nice, the meaning becomes clear. You can quickly understand, they are thinking about going to the park later if the weather is nice. That's all you need to know to respond. Focusing on keywords is especially important in real conversations. When people speak naturally, they add extra words, fillers, and small expressions that are not essential for meaning. Words like, actually, kind of, maybe, like, appear often, but they are there for rhythm or emotion, not for the main message. If you train yourself to catch the important words instead of trying to grab everything, your listening becomes faster, easier, and less stressful. This skill is also very useful when watching movies, listening to podcasts, or having a chat with native speakers. In fast speech, many small words are shortened or blended together. If you try to stop and translate every one of them in your head, you will quickly fall behind and miss the next part of the conversation. But if your brain learns to catch the keywords automatically, you'll be able to keep up and understand the overall meaning even when the speaker is talking quickly. Another benefit of this method is that it builds your confidence. When you stop worrying about every little detail, you start enjoying the conversation more. You don't freeze when you miss a word. You understand enough to reply naturally, and the other person feels the conversation flowing smoothly. Over time, this habit will also improve your speaking skills, because you'll naturally start focusing on the most powerful words in your own sentences too. So, train yourself to listen for the important parts. Ask yourself, what are the words that give the main idea here? Don't waste time and energy trying to translate or remember every single thing. Instead, focus on meaning. This is what native speakers do without even thinking about it, and you can too. The goal of communication is not to be perfect, it's to understand and respond. Keywords will help you do exactly that. Step 5. Use the shadowing technique. Shadowing is one of the most powerful and effective tools for improving your listening skills in English, and it can completely change the way you process spoken language. This technique was first popularized in language learning by professional interpreters, and it works because it forces your brain to listen and speak almost at the same time. When you shadow, you don't just passively hear English, you actively engage with it, and this speeds up your understanding. Here's how it works. You take a short piece of audio or video from a native English speaker. This can be anything: a podcast clip, a scene from a movie, a short YouTube video, or even an English speech. Then, as you play it, you repeat the words immediately after the speaker, trying to match their speed, rhythm, and intonation as closely as possible. The magic of shadowing is that it immerses you in the music of the language. English is not just about individual words. It's about how those words connect, how certain sounds disappear, and how intonation rises and falls. When you shadow, you begin to feel these patterns naturally, without overthinking. You start to notice which words are stressed, those words that carry meaning, and which words are reduced or blended together. This is critical because in real conversations, native speakers rarely pronounce every word clearly and separately. Instead, they use connected speech, where sounds run into each other. By shadowing, you train your ear to catch these patterns, so when you hear them in real life, they no longer surprise you. In the beginning, you might feel that shadowing is too fast or too difficult. You may miss words, get tongue-tied, or feel like you're chasing the speaker. That's completely normal. The goal at first is not perfection. It's to keep going without stopping. Even if you only catch 70% or 50% of the words, the constant repetition will gradually improve both your listening and speaking skills. Over time, your brain becomes faster at processing English sounds, and you'll notice that you can repeat more and more accurately. To make shadowing even more effective, choose audio that is slightly challenging but still understandable. Start with clips that are 30 seconds to 1 minute long. Listen once without shadowing to understand the meaning. Then, play it again and shadow along. Repeat this process several times until you feel more comfortable. If there are parts you keep missing, pause, listen closely, and then try again. You can even slow down the audio at first if it's too fast, and then gradually increase the speed to match natural speech. The best part about shadowing is that it improves multiple skills at the same time: listening, speaking, pronunciation, and even vocabulary. Because you're imitating real English, you develop an accent and rhythm that sounds natural. You also internalize grammar and sentence patterns without having to memorize rules. Just 10-15 minutes of shadowing every day can make a huge difference in your listening ability within weeks. If you make it a daily habit, you'll be amazed at how quickly you can understand fast, natural English and respond confidently in real conversations. Step 6. Speed up your brain. Here's something important to understand. The speed of English will not slow down for you. No native speaker will suddenly start talking in slow motion just because you are learning. This means you must train your brain to keep up with natural speed. The good news is, your brain is a powerful machine. With the right training, it can process information much faster than you think. Every time you listen to fast English, even if you do not understand every single word, your brain is slowly adapting. It is learning to recognize sounds, words, and sentence patterns at a higher speed. Over time, this makes understanding normal conversation feel much easier. If you always listen to slow, clear English, you will stay in your comfort zone. This comfort zone feels safe, but it will never prepare you for the real world. Imagine training for a race by only walking slowly. When the actual race day comes, you will not be ready to run. The same rule applies to English. If you want to communicate with native speakers, watch movies, or understand podcasts without subtitles, you must train with fast English. This is how your brain becomes strong enough to handle real-life situations. At first, fast English can feel impossible. You might feel lost after just a few seconds. You might only catch a few words here and there. This is normal. Think of it like lifting heavy weights in the gym. On the first day, the weights feel too heavy. But if you keep lifting them every day, your muscles grow stronger. Listening to fast English is like lifting mental weights. Your listening muscles will get stronger with practice. Even if you understand only 50% at first, your brain is still learning and improving. One of the best ways to speed up your brain is by listening to the same fast audio multiple times. The first time, you will hear the general rhythm and tone. The second time, you will catch more details. The third time, you might start recognizing whole phrases. This repeated exposure trains your brain to react faster. Over time, your brain will stop translating every word into your native language and will start thinking directly in English. This is the moment when your listening skills truly level up. Another important tip is to combine fast listening with active speaking practice. When you speak quickly, you are also training your brain to process English in real time. This creates a connection between your listening and speaking skills, making conversations smoother. You can shadow, repeat immediately after, fast English audio to improve both your speed and pronunciation. This is a powerful technique that many advanced learners use to sound more natural. The key point is this: do not be afraid of fast English. Do not run away from it. The speed will not slow down for you, so you must speed up your brain to match it. The more you challenge yourself daily, the more comfortable you will feel. One day, you will notice that what once felt too fast now feels completely normal. That is when you will know that your brain has truly leveled up. Step 7. Control your emotions while listening. One of the biggest obstacles to understanding fast English is not the speed itself. It's your emotions. Many learners get nervous or panic when they hear someone speak quickly. Suddenly, their mind feels blank, and they stop understanding anything. They think, "I'm not catching every word. I'm going to fail." This panic creates a block in the brain that makes listening even harder. But here's the truth. Panic is your biggest enemy when it comes to listening. When you feel nervous or anxious, your brain shifts focus. Instead of paying attention to the words and their meaning, it focuses on the fear itself. Your heart beats faster. Your mind races with worries. This makes it almost impossible to understand what the speaker is saying. Have you ever noticed that when you're stressed, even simple things become difficult? Listening is no different. If your emotions take over, your brain cannot work at its best. To fix this, the first step is to stay calm. Deep breathing is one of the simplest and most effective ways to calm your mind. When you take slow, deep breaths, you send a message to your brain that everything is okay. Your heart rate slows down, and your brain becomes clearer. Before you start listening, take a few deep breaths. This small action will prepare your mind to focus better. Next, change your focus. Instead of trying to understand every single word perfectly, focus on the overall meaning. Remember, no one expects you to be perfect. The goal is communication, not perfection. When you relax and focus on the big picture, the general ideas, the feelings, the topic, you free your brain from the stress of catching every detail. This relaxed focus helps you understand more, even if you miss some words. Another important mindset is to see every conversation as a learning opportunity, not a test. When you think of listening as a test, you put pressure on yourself to be perfect, and that pressure causes panic. But if you think of it as practice, your brain is more open and willing to learn. You will listen without fear of failure because you know that mistakes are part of the journey. Every time you listen, even if you don't understand everything, your brain is training and growing. It can also help to remind yourself that native speakers often speak quickly, even to each other, and they sometimes make mistakes or repeat themselves. You are not alone in finding fast English challenging. It's normal. This thought alone can reduce anxiety and give you confidence to keep listening. Finally, practice listening calmly in low-pressure situations first. Choose easy, interesting materials that you enjoy, like a favorite podcast or TV show. Listen to them when you are relaxed, maybe in the morning with a cup of tea or before bed. The more you practice staying calm while listening, the stronger this skill becomes. Over time, your brain will associate English listening with positive feelings, not panic. Controlling your emotions while listening is not about eliminating fear completely. It's about managing it so it doesn't stop your progress. When you learn to stay calm, breathe deeply, and focus on meaning, your listening ability will improve faster than you imagined. Step 8. Listen in layers. One of the most powerful techniques to improve your understanding of fast native English is called listening in layers. This means you don't try to catch everything all at once. Instead, you listen multiple times with different goals each time. By doing this, you train your brain to process information on different levels, from the big picture to the small details, and even the emotions behind the words. This layered approach helps you become a deeper, more complete listener. The first time you listen, focus on the main idea. What is the speaker talking about? Don't worry about understanding every single word or phrase. Instead, pay attention to the overall topic or message. For example, if someone is telling a story about a trip, your first goal is to understand that it's about a vacation, where they went, or what happened. This first layer helps you get the big picture and keeps you from getting lost in details that don't matter as much right now. The second time you listen, focus on specific details. This means trying to catch important facts, numbers, or examples. Maybe the speaker says, "I visited 3 cities," or "The weather was really hot." These details add color and depth to the story or message. Listening for details helps you build a clear understanding and prepares you to respond or discuss the topic later. At this stage, you can pause the audio if needed, take notes, or replay parts that seem difficult. The third time you listen, focus on emotion and tone. How does the speaker feel? Are they excited, sad, angry, or happy? What emotions do their voice and word choices express? Listening for emotion helps you connect with the speaker and understand the meaning beyond just words. It also improves your ability to pick up on subtle cues in real conversations, such as sarcasm, humor, or urgency. Understanding tone is a skill that native speakers use naturally, and learning it will make you feel much more confident in English. By listening in layers, you break down a complicated, fast conversation into manageable parts. Instead of trying to understand everything at once, you train your brain to switch focus and notice different things each time. This reduces frustration and builds your confidence because you start seeing progress with every listen. Listening in layers also trains your memory. When you listen once, you might remember the main idea. When you listen again, your brain connects the details to that main idea. By the third listen, you have a complete picture, including how the speaker feels about the topic. This helps you remember conversations better and respond more naturally. Many advanced language learners and interpreters use this layered listening technique to master difficult material. It is a powerful way to train your brain to process fast, natural English without feeling overwhelmed. You don't have to understand everything at once. Just focus on one layer at a time, and gradually you will understand more and more. Try this technique with your next listening practice. Pick a short audio or video clip. Listen the first time just to get the main idea. Then listen again for details. Finally, listen a third time for emotions and tone. You will be amazed at how much more you understand and enjoy the content. Step 9. Build real-life practice. After all the training techniques and listening exercises, there is one thing that truly makes the biggest difference in understanding fast native English. Real-life practice. Listening to recordings, podcasts, or videos is helpful, but it cannot replace the experience of having actual conversations with the native speakers or fluent English users. Real conversations are unpredictable. They include interruptions, changes in topic, slang, and different accents. This unpredictability is exactly why practicing real-life speaking and listening is so valuable. When you engage in real conversations, your brain learns to process language in its natural form. You experience how native speakers speed up, slow down, repeat themselves, or correct mistakes. You also get to practice responding immediately, which helps improve your listening and speaking at the same time. This interaction forces your brain to stay alert and think quickly, unlike passive listening where you can pause or rewind. One of the best ways to get real-life practice is by joining language exchange groups. These groups connect learners with native speakers who want to practice your language while helping you practice English. This mutual exchange creates a comfortable and supportive environment to practice without fear of judgment. Online communities and apps like Tandem, HelloTalk, or conversation clubs on platforms like Meetup are excellent places to start. Another great option is joining speaking clubs or discussion groups, either locally or online. These clubs often have scheduled meetings where members discuss interesting topics, share stories, or practice specific language skills. Being part of a group helps you stay motivated and gives you regular opportunities to speak and listen. Real conversations teach you to handle interruptions, misunderstandings, and different speaking speeds. Sometimes native speakers may use idioms, slang, or cultural references you don't know yet. Instead of feeling frustrated, real practice encourages you to ask questions, clarify, and learn in a natural setting. This kind of learning is much faster and more effective than studying alone. The more real conversations you have, the faster your listening improves. Your brain becomes used to the rhythm and unpredictability of spoken English. You learn to fill in missing words or guess meanings from context. This makes fast speech less intimidating and more familiar. Remember, real-life practice is not about perfection. It's about communication and connection. Even if you make mistakes or miss some words, every conversation builds your skills and confidence. The key is to keep practicing regularly and embrace every opportunity to speak and listen with others. So start today, find a language partner, join a group, or attend an online chat. The more you practice real conversations, the sooner you will find yourself understanding fast native English naturally and confidently. Step 10. Learn common linking sounds. One of the biggest challenges learners face when trying to understand fast native English is something called linking sounds. Unlike textbook English, Where words are often taught as separate, clear units, native speakers rarely pause between words when they talk naturally. Instead, the end of one word flows smoothly into the beginning of the next, creating what sounds like a single connected word. This smooth connection is what we call linking. For example, take the phrase turn off. When said slowly and clearly, you can hear both words separately, turn and off. But when spoken naturally, especially in fast speech, these two words blend together and sound like turn off. The N sound at the end of turn links directly with the O sound at the start of off. Another example is not at all. When linked, it sounds like not at all. Instead of three separate words, the sounds flow into each other, making it feel like one word with three parts. Similarly, see it becomes see it. Here, the E sound in the see links directly into the I sound of it, and the two words merge seamlessly. At first, these linkings can make you feel like words are disappearing or being swallowed. You might hear what sounds like a completely new word or miss parts of the sentence altogether. But the truth is, the words aren't disappearing. They're blending together naturally. This blending happens so often in English that understanding it is key to catching fast speech. To get better at this, you need to train your ears to notice linking sounds. One effective way to practice is by taking short clips of native English speech. Listen carefully and try to write down exactly what you hear without looking at the text at first. Then check the transcript or subtitles and underline or highlight the places where words link together. Over time, you'll start recognizing these patterns on your own. You'll begin to expect the linking sounds instead of being surprised by them. This practice will change the way you listen. Instead of struggling to separate every word, your brain will start hearing connected groups of words. This makes understanding faster and less stressful. You won't feel like parts are missing because you know they have blended together and now you can decode them. Learning linking sounds is an essential skill for anyone wanting to understand fast, natural English. It helps you bridge the gap between textbook English and real conversation. The more you notice and practice these links, the smoother your listening will become. You'll feel more confident, and fast English will start to feel much easier, even enjoyable. Step 11. Practice with speed gradually. Many learners make a common mistake when trying to understand fast native English. They jump straight into the fastest, most difficult audio or video they can find. This approach often leads to frustration, overwhelm, and eventually giving up. It's like trying to run a marathon on the very first day of training. You don't need to run before you can walk. Instead, it's much more effective to train your listening skills gradually, increasing the speed step by step. Start by choosing videos or audio clips that are just a little faster than what you're used to. If you usually listen to slow, clear English, try something that is only slightly faster but still comfortable. This slight increase challenges your brain just enough to improve, without causing stress or confusion. As you practice regularly and begin to understand these slightly faster clips with ease, you can move on to faster materials. This gradual increase helps you build your listening endurance, just like training for a race. Sprinters don't start by running 100 meters at full speed every day. They build up their strength and speed gradually. The same is true for your brain and ears. Training with speed levels allows you to adapt slowly and gain confidence. You avoid the frustration that comes from trying to understand something that feels impossible. Eventually, your goal is to practice with real-life conversation speed. Real conversations are often faster than prepared speeches or recorded lessons. They include background noise, interruptions, slang, and different accents. Listening to fast conversations in a noisy environment is one of the most difficult skills to master. But by practicing gradually, you prepare your brain and ears for this challenge. Another important part of this gradual practice is patience. Improving your listening skills takes time and regular effort. If you rush, You might feel defeated and lose motivation. But if you pace yourself and celebrate small wins like understanding a faster sentence or catching a new phrase, you keep your motivation high. Each step forward feels rewarding, and you'll enjoy the learning journey more. You can also use tools that adjust playback speed. Many apps and video players allow you to slow down audio to a comfortable pace and then gradually increase it to normal speed or faster. This gives you control over your learning and helps you train effectively without pressure. Remember, listening to fast native English is a skill you build little by little. By practicing with speed gradually, you protect yourself from overwhelm and build lasting progress. With time, patience, and smart practice, you'll find that what once felt too fast becomes perfectly understandable. Step 12. Get used to different accents. Another important reason why native English can feel fast and difficult to understand is the variety of accents. English is spoken all around the world, and every region, country, and even city has its own unique way of pronouncing words. Whether it's British, American, Australian, Canadian, or many other accents, each has its own rhythm, tone, and sound patterns. Even within a single country, accents can vary widely. This variety can make fast English feel unfamiliar or confusing if you are only used to one accent. Take a simple word like water, for example. In American English, it is often pronounced like water or water, where the T sounds almost like a quick D. In British English, it might sound more like water, with a clearer T sound at the end. If you've only listened to one of these versions, hearing the other for the first time can be surprising or even confusing. You might think the speaker is saying a different word altogether. This difference is true for many other words and sounds. Accents affect vowel sounds, consonant pronunciation, and even sentence intonation. Sometimes native speakers from different regions use slightly different vocabulary or slang too, which adds to the challenge. If you limit your listening practice to only one accent, you may struggle when you encounter other accents in movies, podcasts, or real conversations. This can make fast English seem even faster and harder to understand. The solution is to mix your listening practice. Make it a habit to listen to English from different English-speaking countries and regions. Watch TV shows, movies, or news from the UK, the US, Australia, Canada, and others. Listen to podcasts featuring speakers from various accents. This variety trains your brain to recognize and adapt to different sounds and rhythms. Over time, your ear will become more flexible, and accents that once seemed strange or difficult will feel familiar. By exposing yourself regularly to different accents, you reduce the shock of hearing a new way of speaking. You'll start noticing the patterns and getting used to the subtle changes in pronunciation. This makes real-life listening much easier because native speakers come from all kinds of backgrounds. The more your brain adapts, the less you'll feel overwhelmed when faced with an unfamiliar accent. Getting used to different accents is not only useful for understanding others, but also improves your own speaking skills. It helps you develop a more natural and adaptable accent. You'll feel more confident knowing you can understand and communicate with people from all over the English-speaking world. So don't just stick to one type of English. Explore different accents and enjoy the rich variety the language offers. Your brain will thank you and your listening skills will grow stronger every day. Step 13. Train your brain to predict words. Here's a secret that most learners don't know. Even native English speakers don't always hear every sound clearly when they listen. Our brains are incredibly clever, and they use context to guess or predict what the next word will be. This ability to predict is a powerful listening skill that helps us keep up with fast conversations, even when the speech is unclear or incomplete. For example, imagine someone says, "I'm going to the," and you catch the beginning sound, super. Your brain immediately fills in the blank and guesses supermarket. You don't need to hear every letter or sound. Your brain uses what it already knows the situation, the words before, and common phrases to make a smart guess. This prediction helps you understand speech more smoothly, even when words are slurred, shortened, or spoken quickly. The good news is you can train this skill. Start by listening to English audio or video clips and pause just before the last word or phrase of a sentence. Try to guess what word fits best based on the context. Then play the rest to check if your prediction was right. At first it might be difficult, but as you practice, you'll notice your brain becomes faster and better at making accurate guesses. This improves your overall understanding and reduces the stress of trying to catch every single word. Training prediction also helps your brain get used to common patterns and phrases in English. You begin to recognize which words usually come next in certain situations. For example, after hearing, "Can I have a cup of?" your brain quickly expects coffee or tea. These common patterns make prediction easier and faster, helping you keep pace with fast speakers. When you listen actively and practice predicting, you become a more confident listener. Instead of feeling lost when you miss a word, you learn to fill in the gaps yourself. This means you can focus more on the meaning of the conversation rather than getting stuck on every detail. It also helps your speaking skills because you learn to anticipate common phrases and respond naturally. Remember, prediction is a skill that native speakers use all the time without thinking about it. By training yourself to do the same, you unlock a new level of listening ability. The faster your brain predicts words, the easier it becomes to understand fast, natural English. So start today by practicing with short sentences or conversations. Pause before the last word, make your guess, and then listen to see if you were right. Over time, this simple habit will transform your listening and help you keep up with even the fastest native speakers. Final words. 13 steps to mastering fast English. Fast native English no longer needs to feel like a secret code or an impossible challenge. With the right mindset and practice, you can train your ears, your mind, and your confidence to understand and enjoy fast conversations just like a native speaker. Throughout this video, we've explored 13 powerful steps that will guide you on this journey. First, it all begins by changing your mindset about fast English. Believe that you can improve, and that every moment spent listening is helping your brain adapt. Then, understanding why native English sounds fast, it's not just speed, but connected speech, reductions, and slang that make it feel that way. Training your ears daily is like exercising a muscle. Consistent practice builds strength. Remember to focus on keywords rather than trying to catch every word, which will make listening less stressful. Using the shadowing technique helps you feel the rhythm and flow of natural speech. Speeding up your brain by regularly challenging yourself with fast English is key to keeping up. Controlling your emotions while listening prevents panic and keeps your mind clear. Listening in layers trains you to pick up the main ideas, details, and emotions separately, making your understanding deeper. Building real-life practice through conversations and language exchanges is irreplaceable because it exposes you to authentic, unpredictable speech. Learning common linking sounds will help you recognize how words blend in natural speech. Practicing with speed gradually keeps you motivated and prevents overwhelm. Getting used to different accents broadens your listening ability and makes every English speaker understandable. Finally, training your brain to predict words sharpens your anticipation skills and allows you to keep pace even when you miss a few sounds. If you apply these steps consistently, your listening skills will grow faster than you ever imagined. I encourage you to practice regularly, stay patient, and trust the process. Here at English Achieve, we are committed to helping you every step of the way. Soon you'll find yourself in a fast English conversation, and instead of feeling lost or overwhelmed, you'll feel excited, confident, and completely in control. Keep going and enjoy the journey to mastering fast English.